I'm sure this week they will say that this is the battle of Britain. The 4-in-a-row champions meet the 3-in-a-row champions. Yes, Manchester City versus Celtic. Although Celtic have probably won a lot more trophies than Manchester City, there is a financial gulf. There is a financial gulf between the two clubs, and Brendan Rodgers has he's been speaking about that, but he's also been speaking about Casper Schmeichel, and he's been speaking about Matt O'Reilly. We'll listen to what the boss had to say about both.
We had a wonderful time working together at Leicester, and it was clear what we needed after Joe leaving, and that was someone who is at the very highest level, who's a competitor, who's a winner, and obviously can really support and help this young group of players. And there's nobody better than Casper for that. So I'm absolutely delighted. I'm delighted for him that he's going to get the Celtic experience, which is a really incredible experience because it's such a massive club, Celtic, but a real family, small family inside it. So yeah, I'm delighted.
People will say, "What does he mean by a small family inside it?" Well, when you go to games, and this is what it means. When you go to games, there is a sort of element of close knit family to people that go to home and away games, and I noticed that at my time at Celtic, you get to know everyone that goes to, you know people that go to away games, and people come from all over the country to follow Celtic back home. And Brendan Rodgers alluded to the fact that even in America, he says the amount of fans that are here has been absolutely unbelievable. So that's what he's on about when he goes, it's a close knit family, because it is really. I mean, I know a lot of people that were bus conveners, and it's, you get to know each other, you have conversations with each other, you don't try and get tickets off each other, and it is really a close knit family, really.
Delighted he's here.
Obviously, you've signed 2 goalkeepers in the window so far as well. But obviously, look, I know you're working on other deals, I'm sure, to come in, but there's a lot of speculation around Matt O'Reilly. Is there anything to update, and how desperate are you to keep him in the club?
No, there's no update.
The important question that he was asked here that he totally ignores is, do you want to keep him at the club?
Fairly relaxed. He's you see him in the game the other night. He's working very well, very focused. And naturally, when you're a really good player, and especially a young player who's committed and professional as he is, then he's going to obviously acquire attention. But he's working so well, and there's nothing really to report on him.
Casper, how does it feel to be a Celtic?
Notice that he never gave an answer on how much do you want to keep him at the club. He totally ignored that comment altogether.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels great. Yeah, absolutely buzzing to be here, to be fair. Once I spoke to the boss, then it was exactly what I wanted. It was everything I've been looking for. Yeah, just really happy now to be here, and just can't wait to get started.
So that's Casper Schmeichel. We all know how much buzzing he is. He'll put the young Finnish keeper into second position in the squad for goalkeepers, which is fantastic. I fully expect the Finnish boy, Sinisalo, who has been pictured with Paul the Tim. It is official. No player is ever official until they've had that picture with Paul the Tim. And I can confirm last night that Paul had his picture taken with Sinisalo. That's it. It's a done deal. And if you don't know Paul, and you don't know, if you haven't been around Twitter for many years, you'll not have a clue what I'm on about, but most people do. So anyway, let's move on from that this morning. And Brendan Rodgers was asked another question about Matt O'Reilly. But before we talk about Matt O'Reilly, he was asked about the American tour by an American journalist, and he was asked about what he wants to get from this tour in the US of A.
Well, I think from a football perspective, the games are all different games. Clearly, we're in pre-season, so the idea around this time is to arrive in the first game of your season in a really physically good position. So we're getting out of it, certainly at this moment, what we want, and I'm pretty sure we will do in the next couple of games. I think technically and tactically, we're looking at some new ideas that we can bring into our season. So that'll be nice over these next couple of games to observe that. And I think overall the brand of Celtic taking Celtic to America where it hasn't been for a number of years. Celtic, as I said, it's a worldwide institution with so many Irish American people out here and just Celtic supporters in general in America. So to give that opportunity to take the club to here, to meet the supporters, then that's equally as important for us.
Interesting. It does say that is. I mean, I see it in every video because I see the stats. Celtic fans all around the world. Right, let's get on to what he said about Matt O'Reilly. Now, you need to listen to this one really, really closely.
Just back on Matt O'Reilly, obviously there's talk about bids coming in from here, there and everywhere at the moment. Is there a sense that the club and yourself that there's no financial pressure or obligation to sell Matt at this point in time? Is it a case of maximising the asset as well?
Yeah, listen, I think we all understand that the people that are close to Celtic understand that the model that Celtic works. Matt's been at the club for 3 years. He's developed into the player that he has. He knows the privilege it is to play for Celtic. And of course, naturally how it works is the players get that opportunity to move on. Now, Celtic is a club where you can move on, but you don't have to. And it's a very difficult club to move on from. But naturally, with the wages that are on offer for players, then that makes it a real challenge for Celtic to compete at that level. But
it's interesting that he spins it around and says that he's playing a double-edged sword as the manager, and he's been very coy. He's saying that on one hand, he's saying, "Look, we're a selling club. Anybody that we all know the financial model, the trading model that we have, but he doesn't have to leave. He doesn't have to leave. But the wages on offer are what are going to take him away." Interesting. He's been being very non-committal on the fact that, look, we don't have to sell him. We don't have to sell him, and he's not for sale. And I think that's what a lot of fans, and especially this season, I think a lot of fans would like Matt O'Reilly to stay and go into the Champions League. I think we want as strong a team as possible to go into the Champions League this season because it's a big season for us. You know, we're going to play more games than ever in Europe, and it is an important season. And we want to try and just for once in our lifetime, you feel like you're doing a fucking William Wallace speech here. And for once, can we just keep some of our best players from and try and go in the Champions League and just have a good bash at it? But no, he comes out with, we know the financial model. Matt doesn't have to leave. He's on a lengthy contract. It's up to the player if he wants to take the wages. He's totally putting it on the head of Matt O'Reilly, but we know that's not the case. If the offer comes in for 25 million, Matt will be told that he's going with no uncertain doubt about it.
But what I've seen with Matt is that he's a first-class professional. Casper knows him well as well, having been in the early stages of his Denmark career as well. And he will tell you also he's a really, really humble guy. He's very devoted to his profession, and he knows what he has here. So we're all quite relaxed with it. Every player has a value, we know that, but what we see him as a really important player for us, and whilst he is here, we'll continue to develop him and help him improve.
Whilst he is here, it doesn't look too good for the end of this transfer window. I'll be honest. I mean, Kasper Schmeichel at that point was kind of looking down the way. Brendan Rodgers was looking a little bit under pressure. And I think he realises what fans want to hear. Fans want to hear our club turn around and say, well, it's not for sale. It's as simple as that. But the reality is, as the manager says, everyone has their price. And that's true at any level. We all know this. But I think the fact that Celtic are a club that are in such a fantastic financial position, they are in a financial position that is second to none. A lot of these top clubs around Europe and European football are borrowing money left, right, and centre to buy players. They're paying a deposit and they're paying them players up over 4 years. And where Celtic can afford to just go, like, it's only 25 million. We don't need to sell the player. We don't want to sell the player. We want to try and just one season go into the Champions League with a strong team.
Aye.
The Latino community is really big in this area, and too many from Honduras. And, Luis Palma, our player from Honduras, will be playing tomorrow in this game.
Yes, he will be involved. Lots of the players will get involved. I feel the Honduran population must be about 100 million because we're in Washington. We had so many supporters there as well and outside the stadium. So now Louis loved his time at Celtic. He's done very well in his first year. It's always difficult to adapt, especially he was coming into a more intense game, coming to the British game. But he settled in very well, and he'll be looking to progress even further this season.
Now, if you're going to ask Casper Schmeichel, when was the first time that you were introduced to football? Expect a little bit of a giggle for Casper, and you would think that he would know. I mean, obviously not. I mean, they're not big football fans. It's soccer. It's this football. Shut up, you lot. Oh, I love it. And there was I can't remember his name, but somebody commented on the video for yesterday talking about the fact that they get hot dogs and fries and everything brought round. I'd love to go and experience that. I did try to get to a baseball game when I was in America once, but it was called off due to lightning. But I think I need to go back and experience this, just the hot dogs and fries and cola and stuff just coming to you. Anyway, let's listen to Casper Schmeichel, who has a little bit of a giggle about the first time that he was introduced to football.
Was there any moment for you that you can recall at all, or no?
Well, to be honest, the first place I went from when I was born in the hospital was a football stadium. I didn't go home first, so football's been in my blood basically since the day I was born. Yeah, my father obviously played professionally until I was 15. So football has existed for me always, and a bit like the boss said, I've been in love with the game ever since I remember. It's been my whole life. I've played it since the day I was born, and I'm still hungry, still love every minute of it.
You must have been sitting there going, "Are you for real, mate? You don't know who my dad is." It's for fuck's sake. Aye, my dad played football, by the way. He's only a friggin' Manchester United legend, isn't he? But anyway, that is your Celtic news for this morning. There was nothing new about the Adam Ida situation. There was no comments. There was no commentators asked about that. There was none asked about the Paulo Bernardo situation. So we are still in the dark when it comes to outfield players. As it stands, with only about 2 weeks to go before the start of the season now, Celtic have still not bought one outfield player. Is that a worry for you? A lot of people say yes, it is. It's interesting that the manager did say that we've been looking at some new tactics that they're going to implement this season, because I think a lot of people were a bit at one point of last season, it's the same old Brendan ball passing side to side pish, when Brendan Rodgers would come out and say, look, that's not the football that we are trying to play here. It's fast attacking pace football. One touch pass. That's the brand of football that Brendan is trying to implement at Celtic. And it's interesting that he says that they're trying some new tactics they're going to implement for this season, and they'll be monitoring those tactics during the next few games. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed this video this morning. If you watched it to the end, make sure that you give the video a thumbs up. Welcome to all the new channel members. Yes, if you want to be a channel member, there will be a link directly under this video. If not, if you just go into or there should be even under the video, there'll be a join section if you look on your laptop or your phone. If you do it on the TV, I don't think you'll be able to do it on the telly. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, all around the world.